Welcome everyone, this is Andres Restart, and this time we are talking about Super Mario Bros. Wonder. As of this recording, the game is coming out tomorrow, and I am very excited, so I figured I'd put out a quick little video discussing the things that have me excited for this game. Now I have a few appointments coming up, so this is going to be a very brief, very quickly edited video. I'm just going to be kind of taking a look at the Ask Developer series on Nintendo's website about this game. There's 4 different parts right now. And there are some different things mentioned that really highlight some exciting aspects to Mario Bros. Wonder that I would like to discuss today. But before going forward, let me point out that we are aiming to reach 50,000 subscribers, so if you do enjoy my content, please subscribe and hit the notification bell, and enjoy the ride as we talk about Nintendo every day. So the first part I would like to highlight here is this. Where did you get the idea for this new game, which has been a long time coming? Tezuka. I was already thinking about what kind of Mario game we should make next when we were developing Super Mario Maker 2. At the time, some journalists and players were saying that Super Mario Maker had eliminated the need for another 2D Mario game. But I kept saying that the next Mario game would be completely different from Super Mario Maker, so there is no need to worry. In hindsight, those kinds of sentiments may have been what motivated me to come up with ideas for this game. So this to me I find very interesting because I remember when Mario Maker came out and then Mario Maker 2 came out, there was a thought process that I was also a part of that kind of felt that Nintendo put themselves into a corner with the Mario Maker games because how could they follow that up with a new 2D Mario and it to feel fresh? Well, they found a way to do it with Mario Bros. Wonder. And that's one of the most exciting things about Mario Bros. Wonder. This game has me more excited for a 2D Mario game than I've pretty much ever been. My favorite 2D Mario game is Super Mario World, and that came out before I was even alive. So to think Nintendo's finally come out with a game that has such a fresh take on the series and is involving this idea of wonder and the Wonder Flower and how there's all these different changing elements throughout the different stages that are surprising, that has me very excited. We're in for something that's going to be a fresh new take on the 2D Mario series, and I can't wait. Moving on to part 2. I see, so the new elements are unrelated to the movie. Sato. Yes. New Super Mario Bros. Was the first 2D Mario game to use 3D models. The adoption of 3D models provided a natural change and was seen as a significant evolution in 2006 when it was released. In addition to the visual changes we incorporated back then, we wanted to implement more engaging and functional ways of using 3D models in this 2D platformer. Therefore, at an early stage of development, we set ourselves the goal of discovering how this could be achieved. Tezuka. During development, we didn't know when the movie would be released, but we were sure some people would play the game because they watched the movie. This is why we were conscious of creating a game that wouldn't disappoint them. So for this game, we dedicated ample budget and time to create the characters with even more care and attention and in greater detail. Hayashida. Also, with Nintendo Switch's technology, we were able to make movements and facial expressions more dynamic than before. The number of joints has also increased considerably. The more joints there are, the broader the range of motion and the greater the variety of movements that can be expressed. And this is something I've noticed about Mario Bros. Wonder. There's so much animation and work on the expressions, not with just Mario, but the entire main cast, the different enemies and characters, the objects on stage. It makes the world feel far more alive than ever before. They've really brought this game to life. And in the context of the Mario movie, no, the designs don't match the Mario Bros. Movie. However, I do think it was smart of Nintendo and the development team to come up with these ideas to make things more expressive, not only to advance the series, but also with the extra level of expressiveness, it does sort of remind people of the extra level of expressiveness we saw in the Mario movie. So it's just a smart way to move forward, and I'm definitely impressed. This part here just kind of has me excited just hearing about the problem solving involved with the development and what led to the designs of this game. So by trying to make it easier for players to see where Mario's headed, you make it impossible for them to see the facial expressions you work so hard to create. Sato, that's right. On the other hand, if we turned Mario's face toward players so they could see his facial expressions, it will be difficult to tell which direction he's moving. Therefore, we had to find the right balance to make it easy for players to see both the characters' expressions and where they are headed. So you made the direction of their bodies facing indicate their direction of travel, while their face showing their expression is easily visible from the player's point of view. Sato, yes, so here's the final outcome. And here we see the final outcome. We can see the actual model for Mario. So on the left, you can see how it basically looks in the game, and it makes sense. But when you look at it on the right side from a different perspective, it looks quite odd. He's very warped. Why is that? Well, it's because they wanted to give the game that depth with the 3D models, and unlike 2D Mario games where you just had the nose of Mario to kind of show you which direction he was facing, with the 3D models, if you did that, you couldn't really show off the face and the extra expressiveness they're putting into this game, unless they design things in a way where things are somewhat warped, where the expressions in body sort of show itself toward the perspective of the player, but the body's still facing in one particular direction so you know which direction you're headed in. It's just very interesting to think that they came up with this way of doing things to solve both problems. Have these characters with this extra level of expressiveness and this depth with the 3D models, but also maintain a design that's easy for players to understand what they're doing on screen. And I just have to say that the overall effect that we get with the extra level of expressiveness and facial animations and just the overall design of this game, it does remind me of Super Mario World, my current favorite 2D Mario game, but I have my suspicions that Mario Wonder may just surpass that. Moving on to part 3. Yoshi and Nabbit have slightly different abilities from the others in that neither takes damage. But Mario, Luigi, Peach, Daisy, and others play the same, right? Was that intentional? Mori, yes. Some of the previous Mario games had different characteristics for each character. For example, Luigi could jump higher and Peach could float. But that meant that there were things that could only be done with a specific character. If you wanted to jump higher, you'd have to choose Luigi. We wanted to remove that in this game so that players can pick their favorite character and ability. So we kept characters and abilities separate by implementing a badge system where players can attach a badge that has the ability they want to their favorite character. And here Tezuka explains, the badge system is packed with Mori-san's passion. Mori again. We ended up with over 20 different badges. These are the top picks from more than 50 prototypes. In fact, if a specific ability is tied to a character, players must choose that particular character depending on the course. So it was difficult to apply an edgy ability, since we were able to separate our abilities in the form of badges. Not only can players equip badges that make it easier to clear the course, but we also could create abilities that let skilled players do challenge runs. For example, a badge that makes you run non-stop, or one that makes your character invisible to both you and enemies. So first off, just let me say, I love the badge system. One, because it does sort of facilitate different playstyles. If you want to make the game easier for you, sure, but also you can make the game more challenging for you, and it gives you more reason to replay levels, so it offers more replayability. And I'm just excited to try out the different badges and do different things and platform throughout the game in different ways. I love the variety here. And just thinking about it has me excited. Like when they talk about here how you can get a badge that allows you to run non-stop, thus making it more challenging to play through a level, I'm excited for that. And this is kind of like a common theme throughout this video, this discussion, but I am very excited for this game. And here for the final part of this interview series that we'll discuss. A casual connection? Can you elaborate on that? Mori, basically, you can enjoy the game as if you're playing solo. You don't have to be on standby while you're matched up with other players. Matching takes place automatically behind the scenes during single player, so there's no waiting around. If someone in the world is playing the same course as you at the same time, you can connect and play online together. And so we came up with ideas to form this casual connection with players worldwide. We call other online players live player shadows, and if you greet them, they might greet you back, give you an extra item if they have one, or even help you when you make a mistake. But they can't attack or disturb you. We wanted to create gameplay where only things that benefit the player can happen, and that resulted in the current design. So, I'm actually okay with the decision for the online setup here. Hearing the overall explanation of why they came to the decision they did, I understand it. And we can play with other people online and locally. It just shows up a bit differently. But I had this thinking recently that kind of dawned on me that actually makes me more excited for the online portion of Mario Wonder. And that has to do with the live player shadows. I love that there is a certain level of casual connection, as they discuss here in the interview. What just recently hit me is that the live player shadows are subtle. They are transparent, they don't take too much away from your view of the game, and I think that kind of matters. So what I'm getting at here is that whenever I've played a co-op 2D game, or a multiplayer 2D game, seeing the different characters move about on screen can get somewhat distracting, at least for me personally, and it has made it challenging. Now, I enjoy my challenging games, I love it when games are difficult, but sometimes, for me personally, it can be a bit distracting when there's multiple players on screen. So for example, recently I've been playing Cuphead with my cousin, and my cousin is under the impression that I'm not really good at platformers, because when I'm playing it with him in co-op, I'm a bit distracted with the two different characters moving on screen on top of the different things flying around and enemies and such. So I'm not always on my A game because of that extra level of distraction with it being two players. When I play the game by myself, all of a sudden the game feels a lot easier. Now again, that is just a personal thing, but I'm sure I'm not the only one that feels similar. So with these live player shadows, I may find myself playing online more frequently than I do locally, because it will afford me the ability to play with others, have that casual connection, but also not be as distracted, and allow myself to focus on the platforming and just focus on the challenge that the level itself brings about. And that's all I'm going to say regarding these different interviews today. There's just so much about this game that I'm just very excited about. The reviews are stellar. Last I checked, Mario Wonder is a 93 on Metacritic. It's very high. It's one of the highest reviewed games of the year. One of the highest reviewed games on the Nintendo Switch, period. It's a historically, critically well-received game. And tomorrow, or midnight tonight, I'm going to get my hands on this game finally and enjoy it to its fullest. I am excited. But how about you? Are you excited for Mario Bros. Wonder? Is there something else that I didn't really discuss today that has you excited for this game? Let me know in the comments below. This is Andres Restart. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and I'll see you all really soon. Take care. Bye.